Avengers Infinity War is that rare pop culture phenomenon that has its own center of gravity in that nearly impossible to escape its pull. Unless you've been living under a rock in a deserted island on the far side of Mars, you've probably already heard what you needed to hear about this film. And let's be honest here, everybody is jumping all over this film, from the geeks who have been fans of this whole series, both the comic and the 18 Marvel films that have come before it. And you also have the various film snobs who decry the Marvel Studios experiment to be some sort of harbinger of the apocalypse, but they've been saying that for pretty much every single blockbuster that has ever existed. So, let's just have ourselves a good old-fashioned film critique on the movie with its own merits, so it will stand the test of time, unless of course I change my opinion in 3 months down the line, but hey, who's counting? Anyways, this is going to be a non-spoiler review for Avengers Infinity War. So, the evil alien warlord Titan was named Thanos, has basically set out to go around the galaxy and collect the 6 Infinity Stones, gems of almost immeasurable power that can grant its wielder almost unbelievable abilities. Now, Thanos' plan is to collect all 6 of these stones using a powerful gauntlet in order to wipe out half of the population of the entire galaxy. I will allow the film to explain why he wants to do something so unbelievably crazy. But the funny thing is, these stones have, at one point or another, encountered various different superheroes that we've gotten to know over the past 10 years, ranging from Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, Doctor Strange, blah 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 blah. You get the idea. And so, roughly 21 superheroes from all of these previous Marvel films have band together as the Avengers in order to stop Thanos and save the fate of all worlds. There, I have given you the most concise, non-spoiler summation of this plot summation of this entire film without any problems. Goddamn, I'm good at this. Anyways, so let's just get right down to the chase. Is the film entertaining to watch? If you're a fan, hell yeah. It's everything you want and more. All your favorite characters from across the 17 previous films show up. They all have witty banter. There's great action set pieces. There's probably a lot of crazy-ass violence that honestly upends some of the more wilder events from this directing duo's previous work in Captain America Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. And if you've been a fan who has been royally invested in almost each of these characters' lives, there's a lot of great emotional payoff to be had from the likes of characters like Gamora, Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and many others that I'll allow you to experience for yourself. But keep in mind that I mentioned that word fan. You see, if you haven't paid any attention to any of these 18 other films, you are going to be pretty lost, as a matter of fact. This would be akin to watching the Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones without having watched any of the previous 4 seasons up to that point. And I don't make that comparison idly either. There are a lot of ends to several characters that have become beloved over the years that occur in this film. The stakes are high, so they basically ram it up all the way to 11. Now, that's not entirely a spoiler, but it is to caution you in terms of your own emotional investment. If you haven't seen, for instance, particularly Captain America 3, Avengers Age of Ultron, Doctor Strange, and Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, and Thor Ragnarok, you're going to have no idea what the hell's going on. Because several key moments in the film pretty much depend on you having witnessed all those films that I mentioned, and to a lesser degree, the other 10 or so Marvel films that I didn't mention, in terms of trying to basically apply where is all of this craziness going. Um, Now that's both a criticism and a praise, because if you've watched all those other films, then hey, the film basically has you covered. Like I said, it's a massive, amazing season finale for you to enjoy. But if you haven't paid any attention, well, then you're not gonna really care what happens either way it goes. Nonetheless, despite how ridiculous the cast size is, pretty much every single actor is firing on all cylinders. A lot of these characters have settled into their roles like a comfy glove, so they know exactly how they're supposed to walk, act, talk, what have you. And pretty much all the major characters all get a big standing ovation from the audience. I mean, look, it's an event film. People are having a blast. But the standouts from the cast, I would definitely say, would be Chris Hemsworth, Bradley Cooper, Tom Holland, and Zoe Saldana. Both Cooper and Chris Hemsworth have a lot of great chemistry with each other. They bounce off of each other comedically well, and it's honestly so encouraging to see how Hemsworth has evolved his craft as a comedic actor, and he just keeps getting better and better at this. Same goes for Tom Holland, who continues to streak from Spider-Man: Homecoming, and he delivers a really powerful dramatic turn at the very end of the film. I've seen this kid act before in much more heavier stuff, such as The Lost City of Z, but this is probably, he gives just a 2-minute performance that is just wonderful, and I know several other people were moved by his performance. And on top of that, I would say the silver, so to speak, of the whole cast would probably be Zoe Saldana. She has much more to do in this movie than even many of her previous Guardians of the Galaxy appearances, and that's with good reason, because here she plays the daughter of Thanos, our main villain, and the film does take great care into showing just how messed up their relationship is. There's a lot of parallels between an abused child meeting her tormentor for the first time in years, and it's some pretty emotionally raw stuff that I really gotta give it to Zoe Saldana for really rising to that occasion. And on top of that, though, her performance probably would not have happened were it not for also Josh Brolin's input, and he truly nails Thanos. Honestly, since Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Marvel has been nailing villains left and right. And that was a pretty good critique of theirs back when they were first starting out 10 years ago. But now they've really been able to create villains that are not only very flawed, but intriguing to see where they want to go. And on top of that, you understand where they're coming from. Take in mind of like Eric Killmonger back in Black Panther, who had a very sympathetic backstory, even though he wanted to do something absolutely monstrous, and yet you got why he's such a bastard. Thanos, in the similar vein, you understand what he's trying to do, you understand the twisted logic he goes to arrive at such a conclusion, and you even understand that he believes himself to be the hero of this whole film. It's a very entertaining performance to watch, and Brolin really rose up to that occasion. And all the way up to the end, and once again, no spoilers, this is the portion of the film that is going to be very, very divisive. See, what you need to know going in is that was originally supposed to be a part 1 film of a 2-part Avengers film. The original intention was to release this one as Infinity War Part 1, and then release Infinity War Part 2 in May of 2018. Plans started to change, and they just started to retitle everything, and they haven't even announced what the 4th Avengers film is supposed to even be titled, for the Russo brothers claim that it's a spoiler for this film. I'll believe it when I see it, but suffice it to say, a lot of the narrative problems that come with 2-part films really rear their ugly head here. Similarly, with Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, you do have a film that doesn't really have an Act 3. Oh, sure, is there a big, massive climax where battles are going all across the screen and action and CG are exploding everywhere? Of course. But it ends on such a note that feels more like a Act 2 cliffhanger that basically brings our heroes to their lowest point and setting up the stage for the big climactic fight in Act 3. Which means that that's what Avengers 4 is going to be delayed as. On top of that, there's no real Act 1. You just really have a prologue for each of these various 21 protagonists and also Thanos. So there's a lot of weird narrative conventions in which some work and some don't. A lot of the characters just really get short shrifted, even though they're incredibly important to the plot. I'm looking at you, Iron Man. Given how much Robert Downey Jr. has been invested in this series, it was actually kind of a weird turn that he's actually not that much of a centerpiece of the entire film. Nonetheless, and on top of that, there's just, given my own knowledge about the industry, what happens at the end, and I will discuss this in my own spoiler talk tomorrow on my own website, afterlobby.com. I'll allow that to be decided there and explain why in more detail. But for now, should you go see this movie? If you're a fan, hell yeah. It's amazing. Knock yourself out. If you want to see it in IMAX, go nuts. The film is gorgeous in 2D. It was also filmed in IMAX, and many people have told me that it is absolutely worth the price of admission for that. If you're not a fan, like I said, those previous films of Doctor Strange, the 2 Captain America movies, the last 2 Avengers films, and Black Panther and Thor Ragnarok are pretty important to understand what the hell is going on in Infinity War. So with that, I'm going to give this a low full price. My name is Christopher Hadamio, and I will see you at the lobby.